So the first observation he makes is that the Natya Shastra gives us a theory of communication. Yeah, this is something which he is presuming. Well, I agree with him. Yes, Natya Shastra in fact provides us with a very accurate theory of communication. And as yesterday we discussed that this theory of communication or this theory of learning has been entirely appropriated from the Natya Shastra by Howard Gardner. And is he lecturing today in town or tomorrow? I think he's coming to Chennai today or tomorrow.
It's over.
Or is it over? Yesterday? Last week. Okay. So, it is certainly a theory of communication, granted. Is there evidence that a similar theory has been put forward in other texts? Now, there are other texts like the Vakpadiyam. There are other texts of linguistics which talk about the generation of meaning. What is the relationship between Shabda and Artha? Right? And then there are general observations that are Shabda and Artha two or are they one? Are they united? So Kalidas saying Vagartha viva sampriktau. He describes Shiva and Parvati as combined, unified, almost as Ardhanarishwara, just as the word and the meaning cannot be separated. Word and meaning are inseparable. You cannot communicate meaning unless you use the word, and you cannot have any value in the word unless it has a meaning. So this dyad of meaning and word has been used in the Indian philosophical system repeatedly. In philosophy of Sankhya, Purusha and Prakriti are like word and meaning. This is how they communicate. This is how expansion of meaning takes place, expansion of the world, creation of the world takes place. There is a whole lot of parallel to it in the Indian tradition. There is a philosophical aspect, ethical aspect, many things in it. And communication also, and then the Sphota Siddhant, which says that it is Nada, which becomes Bindu, and then it becomes the Ahat and the Anahat Nad, and Spandan, and hence meaning. So these philosophies have existed, and the idea of the word or the Vibhava carrying the Bhava is part of this very huge web of communication of meaning.
Because why I asked this question was that there is, as she also pointed out the fact of the Chitra or the, Chitra Artha, Chitra Bhasa, kind of seeing a sculpture and the painting. There's a whole lot of tradition from the traditional architect's point of view, that architecture itself communicates and the sculpture itself communicates its own. They have the separate, as you know, there is a separate way of creating or converting the thought to an icon vis-a-vis what it has to deliver to the audience, whosoever circumambulates
yes.
or watches it.
Right.
So perhaps the word what they use for equivalent, perhaps I don't know whether it's the equivalent word for rasa there, they always use the word anugraha for that matter, and also the graha.
They almost all of them use rasa. The word rasa is used in the context of everything.
No, I'm saying even the technical.
Yes, for instance, when Sankhya develops as Shiva and Parvati, as Nayak and Naika, and when Kavyas are written on them, Kumara Sambhav by Kalidas and all that, they are done with the idea of giving rasa through Kavya or through painting. And as yesterday there was this discussion that the concept of rasa is at various levels of experience. So, right from ordinary rasa which you get out of food, to the rasa you get out of art, the rasa you get out of philosophic discourse, the rasa you get out of music, the rasa you get out of a yogi's experience, there are these various categories of rasa. Similarly, there are the various categories of communicator and what is communicated.
Categories of rasa or categories of ananda?
Well, Anand is described as one category, or at various points these are synonyms. Like Harsha, Ananda, Rasa, Praharsha, all these words are used very often as synonyms. But the essential experience, the essential joy is considered to be the same. There are theories that behind them is one experience.
Because there is a striking similarity between what we are discussing and what the theory of iconography and sculpture says about. There's a
Certainly.
very striking similarity.
Yes, certainly.
Construct even, the way
Yes.
that's thought and conceived.
Certainly, because various art forms combine to create an experience. I mean, look at, for instance, the Hindu temple. It has architecture, it has sculpture, it has different upasanas and rituals going on, it has poetry, it has song, it has dance, it has music. Everything is in that one total experience. And all these things are interrelated. And smell, gandha, rupa, rasa, gandha, all the five senses, they are gratified and they undergo various levels of experiences in this thing. Yeah.
Also, Bharatji, like the concept of vasana in an Atman. So, as I also have had a very similar doubt of what he was asking, little another branch of it. Is it also vouching for the philosophy of that Atman can carry the previous vasana for that matter? Then does it follow the Advaitin philosophy, if I'm not mistaken?
No, look, the Advaita is a darshan regarding Atma, Paramatma and Maya in between. But the idea of Punarjanma, Karma, Prarabdha, they are separate and they have been dealt separately by different philosophies. For the Charavak, no rebirth, so bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutah. Once the body is burnt, there is no return, there is no rebirth. For other philosophies, it is acceptable. The Buddhists do not accept it in the same manner as the Shaivites or the Vaishnavites do. They have different explanations. So, even though rebirth and transmission of some sort of qualities from one birth to another is in all India, is a common feature to all philosophies, they have dealt it differently. All of them have different explanations for it.
I don't know, I'm repeating what you said, in the sense like, you said it but I didn't understand it. They said like, whose thigh is getting converted into the quad? Whose thigh, the actors or the audience? Like, is it, we were speaking about the imitation, that is the anukarana of the sthai getting converted into rasa according to Sri Shankara. So
whose sthai bhava?
Like, is it the actors?
See,
the vasana?
We have seen two explanations. Lollat's explanation, for him it is sthai bhava. And it is the sthai bhava of the actor. But also, it is communicated to the prekshaka. For Lollat, it is the sthai bhava which is recreated by the actor, but it is not the sthai bhava of the original character which is composed or which is written about by the poet. Now we'll come to the third. Bhattanaayaka, who will have a different explanation. And then to Abhinav Gupta, who will have a yet different explanation. And if you go to Mammat, or if you go to Jagannath, or if you go to another commentator, then you will have yet another explanation. Or if you go to other theorists who would say that there should be no distinction between sthai and vyavichari. Any bhava can become sthai. There is a position taken by such persons also. Then the question, which is the real rasa out of which all other rasas come? This has also been discussed. Karuno eva eka rasaha. Bhavabhuti saying that there is only one rasa Karuna, Abhinav Gupta saying there is only one rasa Sham. Then this whole idea as to why this search for one single rasa begins. These are different events at different times in our history. They are all part of our heritage, and you have to see why these things happen. And then to see what is happening today. Which is the dominant rasa today? Is it Bhayanak or is it Bibhatsa? Certainly it is not Shringar. It is certainly not Shringar. It is not even Hasya. If I see what happens on television, I refuse to see it as Hasya. All right. Now, I will just enter the arguments of Bhattanaayaka. What is Bhattanaayak's analysis? He is the third major analyst, Vyakhyakar of the Rasa Sutra. From Bhattanaayaka onwards, the focal point in the analysis of rasa shifts from what happens on the stage to what is felt by the audience. As you saw that in the position of the earlier two, Lollat and Shankuk, the actor was calling the shots. Lollat and Shankuk both located rasa emergence, rasa nishpatti in the actor, and they presumed that the audience was able to partake of whatever was experienced by the actor. So there was a presumption. जो भी स्टेज पर हो रहा है वो हम देख रहे हैं, हमें मिल जाएगा. We will get to see, we are partaking of what is happening. It is the concept of sharing a feast, that there is something going on and I am just able to extend my hand and take what I want. With Bhattanaayaka, the spectator's psychology becomes a contributory factor in the emergence of rasa. A contributory factor. My psychology now is analyzed. The psychology of the spectator, prekshaka. He blatantly rejects the earlier views of Lollat and Shankuk. For him there is no birth, utpatti of rasa, nor the appearance or pratiti of rasa. So utpatti of rasa was in Lollat. Lollat said that the sthai bhava is created, sthai bhava alone gets transformed into rasa, and this is done by anusandhana balat, or by the force of acting, concentration, and the actor does it, so it's happening there. And the other said that no, sthai bhav may be recreated, but it is only in the pratiti that rasa lies. With great originality, Bhattanaayaka postulates something else. And he says that when we are watching a play, then two things happen. He says what is happening on the stage is not sufficient. Something else is happening to us as spectators. This is, he says, two phenomena are happening. Two things are happening. What are these two? One is called bhavakatva and the other is called bhojakatva. So he makes two postulations, both of which according to him must come into play for full emergence or nishpatti of rasa. So he says there is something called bhavakatva which happens, and there is something called bhojakatva which happens, and this does not happen on the stage. It is not the job of the natta to create bhavakatva or to create or to make happen bhojakatva. It is the prekshak. He also postulates a third most vital phenomena called sadharanikarana or universalization. All the three go together to bring about ras nishpatti. So he says rasa does not lie in the utpatti of sthai bhava transmuted into rasa on the stage, as Lollat says, or in the pratiti of the sthai bhava on the stage, as Shankuk says, but it lies in bhavakatva, which happens in the heart of the prekshaka, and in bhojakatva, which happens in the heart of the prekshaka. What are these two? Kimiti bhavakatva. What is this bhavakatva? And he says there is also a phenomena called sadharanikarana. So now let us pay attention. He begins with sadharanikarana, which he argues is manifested by the agencies of vibhavas. Vibhavas, he says, create a experience called sadharanikarana. The vibhavas excite such emotions that are quite different from our daily reactions. The reactions to vibhavas are devoid of any personal prejudice or value judgment of good or bad. The spectator keeps away from his personal likes and dislikes because vibhava is not something located in the real world which always invites personal reaction. Now, try to understand this. He says that when we watch a play, then sadharanikaran happens. And what causes sadharanikaran? Vibhavas. Vibhavas, as you know, is the actor. The activity of the actor, Ange Kwachik Satvik Abhinay, Ahariya, etc., Nepathya, everything that we see and hear, that is Vibhava. What does this Vibhava do? He says it arouses an emotion which, or a way, emotions in a way which are not felt in ordinary life. Okay, let's take an example. If my neighbor who owed me a lot of money, if he dies, I am happy. I don't have to give the money back. If my neighbor, I said the opposite. If my neighbor who owes me a lot of money dies, I am unhappy because I won't get that money back. If my neighbor to whom I owe a lot of money dies, then I am happy because I won't have to give it back. If my neighbor to whom I had given no money or taken money dies, I say, all right, fine. Normally, to any given situation in the world, either there is raga, or there is dvesh, or there is nirmoha or udasinata. I couldn't care less, indifference. So I like what is happening, I dislike what is happening, or I am unconcerned. Now, on the